What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and roundups to talk about. It's been a pretty busy reset in game. Of course, the Lumina quest has been available, so we'll touch briefly on some stuff for this week, including when we can expect some news about future content, new info about Solar Week, event rewards and currencies, and possible secret quest stuff. But then we're going to talk about Shadowkeep. We got a pretty interesting new interview, Bungie talk about year 3 content, strikes, dungeon teasers, power leveling changes, and a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to round it all up in this video, guys. If you enjoy it, a rating really helps me out, but otherwise, let's get into it. So first up, we can now pick up the Lumina in Destiny 2, and it's a pretty interesting quest. You guys have probably seen most of that. A little bit more of a grind than some of the other exotic quests we've seen, although it can definitely be done in a few hours. If you did miss my video, I will link it down below. I don't believe all of the notifications went out for that. Regardless though, one thing I did want to mention is that you can reacquire Rose after you get the Lumina. So initially, when you finish the quest, Rose is going to turn into Lumina, but if you go back to your collection, you can pick it up, and it will roll with a range masterwork, as well as a mod slot and a slot for the shader. So if you want to continue using that weapon, it actually isn't a bad weapon for something like PvP, and of course you can pick it up and do that. But nonetheless, something to look forward to later on this week would be Bungie Day on the 7th of July, and they have said that they'll be posting something. Last year we got information about Solstice of Heroes, so it seems pretty possible that we'll get something similar, maybe details about Tribute Hall and Moments of Triumph, because that does launch in less than a week now on next Tuesday's reset. So I'll keep you posted on all of that, and we do have some other neat stuff regarding Season of Opulence to talk about in a moment. But now let's cover a brand new Shadowkeep interview, and this is from Tim Clark and Alex Wiltshire at PC Gamer. And Tim sent this over to me to check out, so I appreciate that. But Bungie talk about a bunch of really cool stuff, the year 3 content passes, prices, some of the activity stuff that they want to do, power leveling changes, and more. During the interview, Luke Smith said that the annual pass is the shape they want things to take, and they want to spread the peanut butter evenly over the bread. Man, the bread references are all over the place. But Luke Smith actually likens Shadowkeep to Destiny 1's final expansion, which was Rise of Iron. So in terms of Shadowkeep's content drop, the scale of that, we should get a fairly similar expansion in terms of content, but next year will be more about steadily released content along the lines of new modes like we got with Menagerie and Season of Opulence. And they talk about the financial barrier. Mark Noseworthy says, if I told a friend he has to jump back in to play Menagerie, then they've got to at least own Forsaken, then they've got to complete that, then they have to pay $35 for the annual pass, and that sucks. And the article goes on to say the 4 seasons will be available to buy separately in year 3 at $10 each. One season will be included with the standard version of Shadowkeep, and so if you're buying that, you're looking at $30 for the rest of the year. And so it's a pretty similar pricing model to the annual pass itself, the only difference being that you don't have to buy all of that content bundled together. You can spend the $10 to purchase a single season. So that's definitely good, and hopefully we'll clarify some of the pricing for you guys who are curious. But then they talk about content and progression over time. They speak about Dreaming City, and how obviously that has been a pretty successful location, but they say it doesn't feel like a great way to gain power for 2 years. We want powerful sources to feel like big, important, efficient uses of your time. We want strikes to always be valuable. I think even in the game today, at the studio, there's broad acknowledgement that strikes aren't as valuable as they could be, and there is not enough reason to play them. So while they don't clarify the specific mechanics of power leveling changes in Shadowkeep, they are talking about less repetitive ways to actually gain power, right? As they say, the Dreaming City doesn't necessarily feel like a fantastic way to gain power for 2 years, and it's definitely something that I've noticed more in the game recently, you know? We are going through very much the same process every time we need to level up, and so it sounds like in year 3, there will be some fairly significant changes to how that'll work. Now in the interview, Tim asked about the pressure of losing studios like High Moon and Vicarious Visions, and Mark Noseworthy says, we've been building around that for a while. Luke Smith goes on to say, we have a couple of different teams who make things like dungeons and 0 hour, and maybe those folks are like, we want to make a dungeon that when it's beaten turns into a strike, and we're like, well, we weren't thinking about having a strike, but that's a sweet plan, let's do it. He goes on to say, Mark and I get squirrely about this stuff because we don't want to overcommit the team. They have so many ideas, and a lot of what we try to do is edit, curate, and mine them. But pretty interesting right there, he talks about a dungeon that when it's beaten actually turns into a strike. Of course, we don't know if that's a direct reference to a piece of content that's coming up, or purely an example, but it is potentially a bit of a teaser right there, and we do know that there will be a brand new dungeon in Shadowkeep, and it looks like Bungie kind of showed us a couple of shots of what that's going to look like. But yeah, in general, they talk once again about zeroing in on what really makes Destiny awesome. Mark Noseworthy said, we want to pick a corner and stand on it. Let's not worry about Joe Walmart like someone who buys GTA and one other game a year. We don't want to be that one other game. that person doesn't want Destiny, they're not going to marry Destiny the way we want players to marry it. And Luke Smith goes on to say, we need to keep giving you reasons to champion the game to your friends. We need to keep doing right by our players. So just some cool insights into some more stuff that we can expect in Shadowkeep. To summarize, they say that the expansion is going to be around about the size of Rise of Iron. Seasons can be purchased separately at $10 each. They will be making some changes to power leveling and progression, especially to remove some of the kind of repetition that we've seen over the past year or so, going back to activities that we've been running quite a lot to continue to get power season over season. It sounds like that is going to change, and even that reference to a dungeon that when it's beaten turns into a strike for other players is pretty interesting, very similar to stuff they did in the Dreaming City, and that at least suggests that we could see some stuff very similar to that in Shadowkeep. So guys, as always, let us know your thoughts about this stuff. I'll link the full interview down below if you want to check it out. And once again, thanks a lot to Tim and Alex at PC Gamer for the awesome article. Now though, let's jump in and talk about some remaining stuff for this season. We've spoken a little bit about events, but JP Deathblade over on Reddit did summarize a bunch of new details about Tribute Hall, Solstice, hidden titles, quests, Solar Week, and a few other things. Now we mentioned the hidden seal before, and it is visible classified on like GG or something, but the currently listed objectives for a potentially secret title, and the two listings include Connoisseur and 2019 in Roman numerals, so these could be the titles themselves, but we do have Achieve a Valor rank of Legend in any season, complete the mission Nothing Left to Say, complete the Crown of Sorrow raid, reach the Mythic Division in Gambit, complete the Last Wish, the Dungeon The Shattered Throne, and the Scourge of the Past raid. And actually, considering you have things like Valor rank Legend in there, it will be a reasonably difficult title potentially, but of course we'll have to wait for an official reveal to get more details. There were rumours of a Solar Week coming up in the game. We can see here, energy has swept the system, imbuing all Guardians with enhanced solar energy, and in response, Lord Saladin has declared a week of celebration. So many solar subclass paths have been refreshed and improved, tower vendors are offering bounties to solar wielders, complete them in style by participating in Solar Singe activities, and new solar themed emotes are available at the Eververse store. So it's going to be very similar to Arc Week, but there are some other text lines here that are pretty interesting, and that includes scattered pieces of a greater whole, and a listing for rocket launcher components. So now some folks are wondering, could these be linked to Solar Week? Could it be for something like Dragon's Breath? Could we get majorly trolled? Or even Galahorn? Obviously, we're getting into massive speculation right here, but it could be pretty interesting when it comes down to it. Next week, of course, Moments of Triumph and that Tribute Hall will go live in the game, and the description of Tribute Hall here is a golden hall of wonders created by the Emperor to celebrate your legacy. We spoke the other day about a boon of opulence. You can deliver these to the Visage of Callus, and this is basically a statue vendor in the Tribute Hall, so it is a location aboard Leviathan, and you can somehow use these to get a discount, but of course we're not 100% on what the rewards are going to be. We do, however, know that you may claim only 4 rewards per day from bounties offered by the Visage of Callus, and it looks like there will be some hidden emblems and things like that, but then in terms of tributes themselves, there are quite a few. We have fallen ones, a tribute with the power to simulate a nimble fallen shank, the first of 5 available fallen themed tributes. We have things like simulating a Scorch Cannon, a Mighty Fallen Captain, and then there are ones for the Hive as well. We've got the Cabal and Vex, and then things which refer to other stuff in the world or the sandbox, an Orb of Light tribute, a Primary Ammo Cache tribute, and then there are statuettes with things like Emote of Dark, of course this is a reference to Gambit, and then ones for different vendors, a statuette of Akora Ray, Mara Sov, the so-called Queen of the Awoken, a vile subspecies of humanity within the Sol system. Man, Callus really doesn't like those Awoken, does he? But yeah, Saladin tributes and a bunch of other stuff, so just a bit of a better look at what it could actually be like. But on Sunday, I think we're probably going to get some details about it. I'll link JP Deathblade's Reddit post down below if you want to look at this stuff in more detail. And full credit to them for finding all of this stuff out. But for now, guys, that is going to summarize the video for today. I will keep you posted here with the news this week, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Lumina quest, the weapon itself if you've managed to pick it up, any of the other content that's coming up in Opulence, but also the stuff that Bungie spoke about for Year 3. Let us know what you think down below, but if you've enjoyed the video, a like really helps me out, guys, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you dig the content and you want to keep up to date with everything related to Destiny 2. Quick shout out to my sponsor Now Drinks. At the moment, they do have a buy one get one free deal, so if you use my link down below, you can use code Houndish in the store as well. They do have buy one get one free, and that's running for another week or so. And they have some pretty cool drinks for gamers that are more focused on natural ingredients as opposed to sugar and caffeine and all of that stuff. So if it sounds interesting, the details are in the description. But guys, otherwise, thank you as always for tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome day.